Hi there, everyone. I am going to show you how to do your makeup light and flawless without having to have a caked on feeling. A lot of women use 3 or 4 of their foundation colors, concealers, or whatever. To each his own, whatever works for you. With our makeup with Younique, you don't have to worry about feeling heavy or like the makeup is caked on your face. It doesn't have to feel pasty. A lot of the steps women forget is to put the primer on their face first, which is also going to help you to have that really pretty shine to your face, and it works nice. If you've ever seen primer before or you have ever used it, it might have kind of like a creamy, milky looking substance. Ours is completely clear. It's important to use that. I will show you on one side how it is with primer and on the other side without, and then I'm going to wipe it off and show you how you can use very little makeup without doing it overboard. This is my foundation brush. I know it probably looks like a paintbrush to you. Like I said before, I love my e.l.f. brushes. They're just comfortable in my hands. They're something I like. I like to use it. You may have seen people in other videos before, to each his own, however they do it. I'm not knocking anybody. If you've seen them, they're just drawing on big, upward and sideward triangles. You can use the half moon or you can use the triangle. Anyway, I don't even like to put my primer on with my hands. I feel like even if you clean your hands, that you can still leave your face open for imperfections or blemishes. I still have my primer from the old bottles, which we don't even sell it anymore. That's how long this stuff lasts and how good it is. I tend to get a brush for it, which I use, and get a few pumps on there and put it on my face. So when you see this happening and you put it on, you just want to just lightly tab across your face. Just kind of brush it on whichever way you want to go. I kind of like the upward motion so that you're keeping your skin upward and you're not pulling it down. When you're blending and contouring, it could feel a little different, but this is what I do. So this is the side I'm doing. I'm going upward with it, and I'm doing this side with primer. I feel like I put enough of that on there to make the face feel nice and smooth. Now, I'm going to get my my concealer, and I want to show you. I had it here, and then whatever happened to it. A lot of women do this. I myself used to do it. If you bunch up your foundation and blop it on, whether you're blopping it on your hands or whatever, you've probably had to use a lot of paper towels to wipe it off, use a lot of soap to wipe off those hands, and I still have some primer here, so I'll just go ahead and go this way just to show you. But you end up with a big old blob on your hands. I'm going to show you how this much makeup, I don't know if you can see that. Look how much is on that brush. This much makeup can actually cover the entire face. And this is just the concealer portion. So you want to blot the spots that you see, that you don't like the areas. And I'm still blotting. I'm going to even do the other side because I wanted to show you how much more you have to kind of use when you don't have the primer on your face. So now you can either do the moon shape like this, or you can take it in and kind of go a little bit with your triangle. Fill in those edges. And you don't want to pull your eyes because remember, you're going to stretch that skin. You are using the eye serum, the eye lift serum, and it works great. You just want to be careful with that. And then you kind of start fanning out your product on your face. You just kind of not pulling downward, you're kind of going back toward the ear. And you're just kind of using that. And you see how that all blends on. And you can go up and down on the nose. And we're filling all of this in. Remember, this side has primer, okay? This side doesn't have primer, but look at how all that cleared up there. I'm covering up pigmentation that I don't like, but it can be done. But you saw how that little dot can do so much. Okay, so there's that side with the primer. Here's the side without the primer that I'm going to do now. You see it's a lot harder to deal with. It's kind of dried up on there. You have to blend and move. And when this happens, what do you need to do? Add more makeup. So right here I'm trying to do my triangle. Trying to fill this in. You see how it wouldn't even stick to all these blemishes here. So it really didn't work. So what did I have to do? What would I have to do? Add more makeup. In this case, I'm not going to, because that covered the entire side. And like I say, that was the concealer only. It covered that entire side. There we go. I like to use Taffeta face cream conditioner, face cream foundation from Touch. I hardly have any left, but I have another one ready to open soon. Like a lot of women probably do, you see them drag and grab all that foundation. Don't do that. Just lightly dab and dust. You don't even want to be able to see that much on your brush. You just lightly dab it, and then you work your way out. Work your way out from the cheekbone, remembering to pull, and I'm going to tap a little bit more. Remembering to pull toward your ear, not going downward, because that's going to pull your skin down. You can even go with an upward motion to make sure that all of your foundation is even, if you wish. I prefer to go sideways. Remembering not to pull the skin very much, because you don't want to have loose, sagging skin going on. Okay, I'm just going to, again, dab lightly. See, you can barely see it on there. And then polish up under here. And then you want to kind of go around the bone and maybe up and down a little bit. I'm going to grab a little more. As you can see, you can hardly see it on that brush, but you're going to see it when I'm putting it on. Maybe you can, maybe you can't. Do the nose crease. I have a big crease in my nose. Most of us females do. Then I'm just going to grab a little bit more, as you see. Kind of dust it a little bit on the brush and go over this area again. Really light. You saw how it didn't take much. Preferably upward strokes on the forehead. Okay. That is all done. Then you can kind of just dust the eye with it or go over. Do you see how much difference there is from the primer side to the side that didn't have primer, how it dried up and I couldn't really move it, to the side where I put the primer and I didn't sit there and have to cake it on? In other words, if you're not using your primer properly, excuse me, nose itch. If you're not using your primer properly, you're going to end up with if you're using it too heavy, your face is going to be extremely moisturized, but your face is going to look really wet. If that's the look you're going for, okay. If you use the adequate amount on your face, it's going to hold everything nicely and it sets that makeup in place the way you want it to. I'm going to grab my other brush now. It's an all-over mineral brush, and again, I like e.l.f. That's what I use. I finish up with the chiffon powder. You don't need to go heavy on this. A quick sweep. Dab that on your forehead and just kind of swirl it around a little. And you see how it's filling in exactly where you're putting your foundation. And I didn't, do you see that already? I didn't, and look at the other side. You see the difference? I didn't even put a lot. I just did a little bit of a dab. So I'm going to swirl again. See that there? There we go. Now you just kind of sweep upward. Remember, you just want to go up the line of the face. You can come down a little bit, do it light. I'm going to sweep a little bit more. I've gone to women's home and done their makeup for them, some even at work, and showed them how you can have that beautiful natural look without having to cake on a whole ton of makeup. And you always want to leave under your face, under that eye, a little bit clear, because you want to keep that nice little show for that you have had some concealer under there. Maybe you might want to keep it a little bit light, so then you just kind of want to dab through here. Dab lightly. And then swoop. Done. Look at the difference. This is where we couldn't get the makeup to stay because there was no primer. This is where the primer came on the eye and it stayed and it covered everything up. Do you see the difference? Now, because I didn't use the primer on the other eye, I'm going to show you what really happens, and I'll wipe it off with the cloth. The primer wouldn't stay there, so in turn, I'm going to have to use this much just on one side of the face to get it to stay. So let's do it again. Here we go. We're getting our colors in. We're trying to get it all covered up. And this is what a lot of women do, unfortunately. And they're trying to cover up every little spot and then hurry up, and they'll do this. I've seen it on videos before. I'm not making fun of anybody. It's just really harsh on the skin to go so fast and harsh like that. They're drawing and dragging and pushing, and you're stretching that skin. Then they're going over the whole entire eye and closing it and doing this and that number to it. Look at your eyebrow. Your eyebrow is now white and covered in foundation or concealer. And then you're trying to stretch everything. You're pulling your skin because it's dry. There's no moisture on it. And you're making funny faces to make sure that everything's going. And do you see how cakey that looks? Do you see all that? That's not even the foundation yet. That was just the concealer. Look at how cakey that looks already. Okay, so we'll speed forward. Got the nose creased out. Here we go. And they're digging in because there's so much. Look at how much that is. That's awful. I'm going to even take some off because we don't need that much. Look at how much there is still on this brush. Then we got to go back and do this. Blend it in. And you're having to go over it and use a ton of your foundation because you didn't wear the primer and you didn't follow the steps, or you feel like, well, because I have such pigmentation, or I have a lot of blemishes, or I'm trying to cover freckles, or whatever the reason, that you are pouring that makeup on. Right now, it feels like if I have a colored paste on my face on my left side. And it's just feeling really unnecessary. And I still haven't even put the powder. So we're just doing that really quick. Sweeping the eye. And again, look, when you're doing it, you tend to pull the skin, which is not good. Now I'm getting my brush back again. Look at the difference. Do you see it? All that foundation, and it's not even blended because you tend to do it, you know, in a hurry, whatever. When you're, and a lot of women do it. I used to do it too. It takes just a couple minutes to do that extra step to go softer. So here's the side here with all of the primer, the foundation, the concealer. It's done. Look at this side. It looks choppy. It didn't cover the entire thing. It left my face looking like I have holes and whatnot. And we still have this last step. And my face feels really caked on and not like it's not breathing as good as it should, even though we have the wonderful fabrics, the excuse me, the wonderful products. So here, you're going to have to go extra. I'm going to have to wash this brush really good after this. I don't like to have all that caking on there and swirling around, because this is what happens when you don't use the primer and you want to achieve a really cool look. And I see so many women going too fast and they're stretching their skin instead of sweeping upward. I'll sweep upward really quick because I don't like to pull my skin any more than I have to. And here you are, all this side. Look at that. See the difference? Do you see it? I don't like it because right here this looks covered up really good, but I used 3 or 4 times the amount that I needed to use. Over here I didn't, and I just lightly touched up, went around, and used my concealer. This feels lighter, and I'm going to show you. I'm going to get 2 cotton balls to show you the difference. This side is the non-primered side. Look at all that makeup. This side I'm going to use now. See how it's clear with the primered side. Do you see the difference? This holds a lot of foundation and a lot of product. This is the primered side. It takes very little, and it doesn't take a lot of that makeup, and it helps to set that makeup and stay in place. That's why it's very important to have a primer, and it's very important to take time to take that extra step and just to realize that you don't need to use that much product. Again, this is one of the older bottles because we now have it in a beautiful tube. I just still happen to have this left over because it lasts long. So I hope that helps you a little bit to see that you can let your foundation and concealers and all of that expand further than maybe a month. You could probably get them to go a couple of months because you do not have to wear a ton of foundation to get that covered up look and, you know, cake it all on there. You can still do your face and still look nice and natural. So I hope that helps, and I look forward to working with more women and going to more households and helping you put your makeup on and showing you that it could just be beautiful and flawless without having makeup on your hands. Thanks.